Hello, we are Unfiltered Wellness. My name is Michaela, and Kelly is with us as well. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
It's so good to be here. We are both holistic practitioners, and we've been talking about doing podcast video series. We work together closely. I'm located up in Northern California, and Kelly is down in Southern California, and we're just excited to be here. And just a little disclaimer, which we share with all of our clients, is that we are not medical doctors, so we don't cure, treat, or diagnose. All of this is strictly for educational purposes. But today, what we want to jump into is really symptoms, kind of our
Yes.
why people are looking for alternative care. What are they facing? What are they struggling with? What most people are told. My niche tends to be more gut health, hormone related. Kelly has her own, which she'll jump into. But just to get things started, I think one of the things I see most often with these women coming to me is they just feel like their bodies are broken. They're frustrated.
Yes.
They're hanging on to 10 extra pounds. They're not sleeping. Anxiety is, now suffocating them. And we're just here to really just start off our first session, start off our first podcast of, these symptoms are your body talking to you. These are actually good. It's your body telling you that something's not right. With my clients, a lot of times I say, we're looking for toxicities, deficiencies, and imbalances, and that's your body talking. Those are the symptoms. So that's kind of what we're going to dive into. Kelly,
Mm.
hit us a little bit more with some of the symptoms that you're seeing in your niche.
Yeah. So my niche is, I mean, we kind of practice in the same element, but I do more nutritional response muscle testing. I go in and
What
I
you're
muscle
amazing at. You're fantastic.
slowly. I mean, I did learn from my mentor of like forever, which is my mom. But yeah,
It's in the blood.
yes, I go in and I muscle test to see which organs are struggling and which organs are not struggling. But a lot of times what I see that comes in first thing and foremost is antagonizers that are blocking the organs from working properly or working on overdrive. So I always try to address those antagonizers. I mean, antagonizers like overgrowth of yeast and candida, bacteria, parasitical. You've got heavy metals, chemicals, any kind of toxins that have been, stored into the body for it could be for months or decades. So I just kind of start there and then I make my way down. But a lot of times I think, Michaela, you work more with a lot of women. And I think my niche more so, which I work with women, I work with men, but my niche has been working with kids because
Yeah.
I love kids. That's just like my passion.
They
And
gravitate
so,
to you.
and they gravitate to me, and I can't have my own kids. So it's like the kids that I have in my office are my kids. And so it's just a special niche that God has given me to be able to, you know, bless these little ones. So I think more of your niche is the women. And again,
Yeah.
I do see women, but most of the time I'm seeing a lot of heavy metals, chemicals, overgrowth of yeast and candida, and just where the brain gets disconnected to the gut.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And, even though we have kind of different niches, we do really attack each attack that sounds very aggressive. We do look at each case, each client in the same way. And you have this
Yes.
great analogy of healing as like an onion layer. So if you want to,
Yes.
share with our guests how we approach healing, because it isn't just an upward slope, or it isn't just like a magic band-aid, right? There's layers.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So growing up, working alongside my mom and just really learning how the organ system works and how the body works and going through my own personal journey, which will be for another conversation. Same with your own personal journey will be for another
Yeah.
conversation to why we're in this area of business and wanting to help others. I look at it as your root cause is like a lens where it really shines. And so your body is like an onion layer. You always have to start at the top. So most people see the outer layer, but they can't really see what's on the inner layer. So as you unpeel the onion layer, it's like unpeeling each organ. And always at the top, which is the outer layer of the surface, is the antagonizers. Again, the yeast, the candida, the bacteria, the heavy metals, the chemicals, all the
Poor
toxins,
nutrition,
poor
yeah,
nutrition, mineral
yeah,
depletion, THFR, not
yeah.
absorbing the proper type nutrients or not methylating properly. Methylation, which we'll probably have another podcast on
That's like a
strictly,
whole other
is
show.
like a
Yes.
whole other show, but that is like a driver. And if you don't have that driver, then how are you going to get all the other organs to work properly? So I always start at the top and then I go in and I make my way down, and that's unpeeling those onion layers. So you clear out the antagonizers, and then you go to the next layer and you go to the next layer, and you see what organs are needing the support as you go to each layer. And then that root cause is always going to be at the bottom. And so,
Yeah.
that's just, and it just, everybody practices differently, but approaching it like, having that outer layer symptoms and then going layer by layer, it just allows it to go in, you ease in softly. You don't want to overwhelm the body. You want to give the body love and care. So that's my approach.
How often do you see the root cause? And this is some of the stuff that I um had to, progress in my own education, but you see those things online or, in the world of like, oh, my root cause is mold. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, mold is probably an antagonizer, but your root cause is probably what I'm seeing in my practice is a lot of identity, value, birth, safety, trauma that you're hanging
Yes.
on to, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
That is most the time what the root cause is, because the root cause is going to be that bottom layer. So a lot of times clients will think that, or I have this, or it's like you're chasing a symptom, and I don't chase symptoms. I want to be able to uncover the why underneath the why and
Yeah.
where those symptoms are coming from. So, like, again, the outer layer symptoms are like bloating, you've got fatigue, you've got anxiety, you've got hormone issues. I consider these, they're more like the smoke, not the fire. And
Yeah.
again, because you don't want to keep chasing the symptoms, you want
Yeah.
to be able to uncover the why underneath the why with the symptoms.
And I think this
So,
is also why you and I like to work with clients who are committed for a certain amount of time. This
yes,
isn't like
yes.
a one-stop shop,
This is
right?
not a quick fix. I mean,
Yeah,
in reality, are there quick fixes? No, I
sure.
call those band-aids, because a lot of times in the pharmaceutical world, and again, this is my opinion, and I've been through the pharmaceutical world and going through my own journey, that it's like a band-aid. And then once you rip the band-aid off, all these other things come about. And so again, I don't want to just chase the symptom. I want to be able to go in and clear out what's causing these
Yeah,
symptoms and not have it as like a band-aid just covering it up.
yeah,
And that's why it's like different layers, because you have the first layer top, you clear out
yeah,
the antagonizers. Then you go into the middle layer, which is symptom imbalances. So, like
yeah.
the nervous system gets stuck in this survival mode. It's like your fight or flight. And I do get a lot of clients, especially with my kids, that are on fight or flight with their adrenals, because their
Yeah.
nervous systems are just so wound up, and then their brain is completely disconnected to their gut, that
And the
their little,
food that we're
oh,
having, like,
the
it's
food
not.
dyes, the
Yeah,
toxins, the chemicals, even like social media, TikTok, screen time, all of that goes into play of just it causes them to have behavioral challenges. It causes their
yeah,
nervous systems just to be completely wound up, to where they feel stuck within themselves. And to be
yeah.
so young and to feel that way, that's, a tough battle in itself. And so, you
And
know,
maybe this is a good segue into, like, why the body overprotects. Like, why
yes,
is your body in fight or flight?
fight or
So,
flight.
fight or flight is
Exactly.
your sympathetic nervous
Yes.
system,
And
right?
that's
So,
why
why is your body doing
exactly.
that? Yeah,
Exactly. And that's why I always go, so the middle layer, you have your blood sugar instability, you have your nervous system stuck again in that survival mode. You've got gut lining irritation, which again, your brain is disconnected to the gut. And so things are not able to work properly. Then you've got your nutrient depletion. Then you've got poor sleep cycles, behavioral challenges. And then you also have that underlying emotion, anger, fear, anxiety.
yep,
So that's kind of like, okay, you've got that middle layer. Well, then you go deeper into the survival of the biology of it, right? So then you go in, and that's where the chronic stress signs are. our organs are chronically being stressed, especially the liver and the kidneys. They're chronically on overdrive and chronically being stressed. And then you've got
'Cause
trauma
your
that gets,
adrenal glands are living up above your kidneys, right?
oh, 100,
Your liver is your internal filtration system, including your gut, including
100%,
your hormones, and so it's all connected.
all
Works
connected.
in isolation.
Exactly. One organ is disconnected, then all the other organs get disconnected. And that's where trauma, again, gets stored in the body. And
Yeah.
trauma goes right to the liver because the liver and the endocrine system holds fear, anger, pain,
And that
anxiety.
came
So,
from, like, Chinese medicine, right?
yeah,
Chinese medicine.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. And so when I tell my clients, sometimes they'll be like, I have like acne broken out on the left side, or I have pain on my left side. And I ask them, I'm like, are you holding on to anything emotionally? Did you have anything big happen this week in an event wise that just caused you to be triggered? Because you can feed your body with a million supplements, but you're still not going to be able to help clear out what's
Yep.
underneath that. And that's why when you go to that deeper, survival of the biology, that layer, you're going to be able to see, okay, inflammation as a protection. And then you've got slowed metabolism to conserve that energy. And then because your inflammation is, that's the protection. It's
Your
like your
body
survival
can't
mode.
tell whether
No.
you're running away from a tiger
Yep.
or you're just flustered being a mom and working and
Yes.
all that. And
Exactly.
sees it both as these really big threats.
Exactly. And that's again where your brain gets disconnected to the gut and then all the organs just can't work properly. So,
Yeah.
and that's again why you want to go onion layer, organ by
Yeah.
organ. And then obviously you've got the fourth layer, which is going to be the core layer, which we were just talking about earlier,
Yeah.
is like your safety signals. And that's at the deepest level. And that is where your body is asking on the emotional aspect of things is, am I safe? Like, do I have enough nutrients? Like you go into like this fear mind of like, am I enough or do I have enough energy to be able to heal my organs? Can I come out of survival mode yet? Am I prepared and ready for that? And also, it's underlying emotions that a lot of people do not want to confront, or a lot of people don't understand or realize that's stored there and may be afraid to confront because, a lot of times I've had clients where they're like, I'm angry or I have anger spouts when they're going through detoxing the body. And I tell them, I'm like, as hard as this is, that is your body releasing and you
Yeah.
cannot block it. You have to allow your body to release those things. Otherwise, you're going to waste all this time and energy on taking a million supplements and not really getting to the
Yep.
actual root cause, which at the end of the day, the root cause is emotional. It's got
Yep.
anger, fear, anxiety, underlying things that are there,
And I
and
think
then all those
spiritual as
totally
well.
spiritual. Oh,
I mean, we're talking
100%.
on
Oh
generational
yeah.
curses, and you guys will
Yes.
find out Kelly and I are big,
Yes.
uh,
We're led by
we're
faith
big,
and
big Jesus people,
yes.
spirit world.
The only
It's
yeah,
so
it's our
real. We
leader.
see it.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
and, like,
It's,
we wear the armor of God every single day, like, he is our leader, he leads us to what we're doing, we were just talking about this before we came on air, is that every morning, we cast out the enemy because the enemy is so
yeah.
strong, and we cast it out of us because we can feel it, and we know when it's
Yep.
there, and we always wanna be protected by the armor of God, especially going into our offices and
Yeah.
with the kind of work that we do. We pray over our offices. We always reach out to one another when we need prayer. So faith and
Because
being led by
it's a spiritual battle,
it
you
is
know?
spiritual
Yeah,
warfare,
it is.
100%. And we'll go into other things that we've experienced down in our other podcasts that we do because it is pretty. I mean, honestly, it's
It's
amazing.
hard to,
It's
like, you
it's
can't
hard.
make it
You can't. Yeah, it's amazing. You can't make
you
it up.
can't make it up.
But then if you go through this healing journey on your own, you will realize and understand like certain symptoms and certain things that you go through. You're like, oh my gosh, that makes 100% sense.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, that's just we're led by the Lord and we're doing the Lord's work. And
Yeah.
that's just what we're taught and what we love. And that's our passion.
Yeah.
So going back to just that end layer, again, emotional, that anger, that fear, that anxiety, that tension that's hanging onto the organs. And like that's the last place where we go in and we help to eliminate that. And a lot of times it's through if you're whether you're a believer or you're not a believer, a lot of times it's, through prayer, or it's you working with a therapist, or doing your own inner healing to allow
Yeah.
yourself to break free from those chains that are like holding on to the organs.
Yeah,
So,
totally. And I guess,
um,
just some things for listeners to, when your body is having all these symptoms, it's like your body's overprotecting itself. And so, kind of explaining survival mode, like in the simplest form, it's your body's stressed, it's inflamed, it's undernourished, and it's emotionally overwhelmed. So that's
yeah,
kind of the fight or flight. When you're inflamed, uh, I give this analogy a lot of times is, like you have a splinter and the inflammation, like inflammation isn't bad.
yeah,
If inflammation, when it's chronic and your body can't keep up with it, that's when it comes troublesome. But you have a
yeah,
splinter, it gets inflamed and it pushes out the splinter and it heals, right? We are created to heal.
yeah,
So when we look at all this inflammation from like this bad lens rather than what is it trying to push out? What is it trying to heal inside of me? I see that like, kind of like a struggle. Um,
yes,
and then, that just emotional cup overflowing, that's a big one. Undernourished and it can I see it in two ways being undernourished. Number one, you're just not taking in like the proper nutrients or the calories, especially with women. We start tracking macronutrients at my practice about midway through our programs and no one's ever meeting protein goals and they're always completely shocked.
yes, yes,
High carbs, low protein, and then kind
yeah,
of all over with the fats. But if you are not, so back to nutrition, it's kind of two-way part. So if your gut isn't healthy enough to absorb the nutrients, you're not going to be eating the right nutrition. And then number two, if you're not intaking, fueling yourself with the right nutrition, it's two very easy ways to like underfuel yourself. And then some ways that those 4 things can look in your body, like holding on to weight, right?
yes,
Your
yep,
digestion, again, back to the digestion place, you have to be in a parasympathetic nervous system. So you have your sympathetic, which is your fight or flight, and then your parasympathetic, that is your rest and digest. So
yep,
rest and digest, you have to be chill and relaxed
yes,
to digest your food and, absorb all of that properly. So bad digestion, bloating, burping, acid reflux, a lot of that can be linked to nervous system being stuck. Same with hormones. Your hormones are downstream from your gut. So if your gut isn't doing great, it's also downstream from the cortisol steal, where your
yeah,
body's usually literally taking all the nutrients for your sex hormones and it's flooding it to your adrenals to keep up with the cortisol, to keep up with your fight or flight. So hormonal shifts, we got
yep,
to look at that first thing. Um, and then the anxiety and the fatigue, right? Just
yes, yep.
staying alert for danger because that is again, your body thinks you're running away from a tiger. So
Exactly, exactly. And well, it's like your body, a lot of people are like thinking like your body's trying to ruin your life. And that's not the case. Your body isn't trying
no,
to ruin your life. It's trying to keep you alive. And
yeah,
it's whether you want to keep it alive or you want to ruin it. Because at the end of the day, you get one body and you have one body to live in for
and
the
nobody's
rest of your
coming to
life.
save you.
Yeah, and nobody's coming to save you. You have to commit to yourself or,
Yeah,
you have nothing. So
yeah,
a lot of people are like, well, it's my body that's making me this way. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's
no.
you making it this way because your body is just trying to keep you alive and you're pushing it back. Like you're
And
trying
that
to
was
take control.
our big hope and theme for today is like
Yes.
your body's talking to you. Like all
Yes.
your symptoms
Yes.
are signals. Don't
Yes.
like reframe,
Yep.
right? Like I know both of
Yes.
us are big on like affirmations for your body and your mind and
Yes.
especially like the organs that are like struggling like I love you thyroid, whatever it
Yeah.
is
Well, that's
because
like that exactly. Like, that's how root cause works is you got to ask your body questions.
yeah,
You got to ask your body, is my nervous system stuck in a stress mode? Is inflammation present? Are my nutrients low? Like why does my body feel unsafe? Like those are things that you want to ask the body because that
yeah,
is the root cause. And you don't want to just ask it, well, how do I just shut my body up? Like
yeah,
that's not what you ask
that's
the
not it.
body.
No.
You ask the body, what is the right way that I can try to solve with this symptom? Like, how can
Yep.
I try to solve the symptom that I have? Instead of chasing the symptom, how can I try to help solve and relieve me of that symptom?
And there's patterns that us as
Yes.
practitioners can catch on to very quickly. And,
Yes.
you present to us with a symptom, and then immediately you and I in our brains are like, okay, that's
Yep.
something to look at.
Yes, exactly, exactly. It's like, you know, that's why I always say like onion layer, start at the top. We're not
Yeah.
here to give you 5 million supplements in your first visit because we are not here to chase every
Yeah.
symptom. And by all means, I could chase every symptom if you'd like to spend $2,000 on supplements, but that doesn't
Yeah.
go like that's not going
But
to
then you're
help
going to get
you.
supplement fatigue and you're just going to
Yes.
quit.
And then you're basically feeding all these organs, and then what happens is the organs inside are like, "We don't even know what the hell we're trying to do." They're like
Yeah.
this, overworking. So it's like,
Yeah.
you gotta go in, and that's why I'm so big on start slow,
Yeah.
ease in with love and care, because that's how you have to treat the body. You gotta give it
Yeah.
respect, you gotta love it, you gotta care for it. And that's why, like, I always tell my clients, I'm like, this is not just a physical journey. This is a physical, emotional, and mental
Yeah.
journey. And
And it's
I'm
not for
here.
everyone.
Exactly.
Like,
I'm here just to
this isn't for
educate.
everyone.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. And I always say, I'm like, I'm just here to educate, and I'm just here to be, I'm the Lord's vessel, and I'm just here to do the Lord's work wherever He wants me, whatever He has me do. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm here for. And I'm just here to educate, help, relieve of the symptoms that you are having, and, onion layer by onion layer, and try to uncover the challenges, match the challenges to the symptoms. And
Yeah.
so, that's why that's what I'm really big on.
Yeah.
And so are you,
Yeah.
as being
I don't recommend any supplements until, because you do the muscle testing, which is amazing. I
yeah.
do like the functional medicine lab work,
Yes.
but I
Yes.
don't recommend anything until I see what's going on, because again, I don't want
Exactly.
to waste your time, your energy. I want,
Yeah.
we will
Yeah.
address what's needed.
Yes.
I do generally support the liver with everyone initially, just because everyone needs that. But then based off what we find, then we'll supplement appropriately. And, you know, everything we do is custom. So based on the lab work, if we find the yeast, the candida, whatever, we'll go and triage that. Um, so you will be on, a handful of supplements. And then, but after that, I'm doing my job right. When you're done with our program, I want you on like 5 supplements.
Yeah.
Like you
Just like a
shouldn't be,
staple. Yeah.
you shouldn't be on 20, and then have your
No.
little toolkits for when you're feeling sick, when you're on overdrive,
Yes.
when
Yep. That's what I always tell my
whatever.
clients. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, I always start with 3 to 4 things because again, I do the muscle testing.
Yep.
And I, onion layer at a time. But at the end, I always tell them, I'm like, I don't want you to be taking a million supplements for the rest of
No.
your life. You just need to be on a staple regimen to where it's just going to fuel the organs and keep
Yeah.
them going as you continue your lifestyle and the
Yeah.
lifestyle changes that you've made.
Yeah.
Like when they are at that point to where they are on that road, I congratulate them. That's like a huge
It
congratulations because
is.
they've committed to themselves and
Yep.
they've committed to their body. And then they're also committing to their families, their kids, and everybody around them. And it just changes their life all around, again, a physical, mental, and
Yeah.
emotional way.
And
So,
your kid, like they respond a little quicker. But I feel
oh,
like
yeah,
for women, it's like
time.
the 3 to 4 month
Yes.
mark.
Oh, yeah, that's what
That
I always
seems,
say. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to give it the 3 to 4 month rule because, again, there are no quick fixes unless you want a
Yeah.
band aid. And you really have to be committed to yourself. It's not for everybody. But if you're
Yeah.
on that road and you're ready to commit, it's so worth it. And I say that because I've gone through my own testimony. And let me tell you, like, there are so many times that I was like, I am not taking these supplements. I'm going to go the easy route. I went the easy route and it turned out to be the worst route for me. I don't speak for everybody else, but I'm saying for me, it ended up being a
Yeah.
tougher route, but I believe that God put me through all of those trials and tribulations to where I'm at today and to
Yeah.
why I do the work that I do. So Um, and I think we could close in on like the areas that we focus in on, first,
Yeah.
first visit or first thing is we focus on, nervous system safety. We focus on blood sugar stability. We focus on your sleep rhythm. We're focusing on like a gentle gut support, like again, that love and that care, that slowly,
Yeah.
starting in a process. And then the foundational nutrients are where is it that you're depleted in? The
Yeah.
last and not least is the antagonizers. What
Yeah.
antagonizers are causing blockage and challenges to the organs?
Yeah.
And just trying to identify and see what are those and how can we go in and feed the body the proper nutrients with whole food supplementation because God created
Yeah. We
food. So
both
you want to
love the
feed
whole
your
food
body? Yeah.
supplementation. Yeah,
Because
we're
God
both big
created
fans.
food. So it's like what heals the body? Food. It's what we eat every day,
Yeah.
You want to make sure it's clean. You want to make sure it's whole food organic. I mean, even organic stuff it's not all clean. But like when you're feeding your
That's a
body
whole
the
other
right
show as well.
whole other stuff, there's so much to talk about. But when you're feeding your body the proper nutrients, you see it, you see the organs starting to work together. And that just is what makes the body fuel itself. So,
Yeah.
because when the body feels safer and more supported, then it starts peeling those layers on its own. So it's like
Yeah.
layer peels, and it clears out on its own
And I don't know about
because it's
you, but
literally
like all of my clients, I feel like when they start, they're like kind of skeptical. They're like,
yeah.
okay, like I think I trust you. I think I get a good vibe from
Yeah.
you, but like I'm a little bit skeptical. And I'm
Oh,
just like,
yeah.
trust the process,
Yeah.
And then
No,
a
it's
a
true.
few weeks in, they're like, oh my gosh.
It's so true. I mean, for nutrition responsible testing, they're like, that seems a little foreign. How does that even work? Like, it doesn't seem like it works. And then, like, when I explain it and I actually show them, I'm like, okay, look, like, I do certain, like, little things where I'll be like, okay, well, your body shows that this organ is weak. It's showing that it's just giving a weak signal. And then I put, a vial on and I'm like, it goes strong. I'm like, that means, it's showing that there's a challenge here. Like, I educate them. I'm like, this is a form of
Same.
education just to show you what is it that your body is needing and wanting.
That's probably why you and I connected so much because we do love the
Yes,
education part and why we wanted to do, like really create this podcast and our YouTube channel and
exactly.
all that because we want there to be real life trusted,
Exactly. And it's
people out
amazing
there.
how God works. Just a short little thing is that Michaela and I actually met because I worked for a company where I help educate practitioners and doctors on products and how to use them and how to help their clients. And so when her and I got connected, God had other plans for me and brought me back into practice after all these years that I've been working for these companies educating. And so it was just divine providence of how it all worked out.
I know
But
it's
that's
so
really
funny.
how we met.
Yeah. Yes.
And so we actually really haven't met in person. We've
I
just
know.
been phone, virtual FaceTime, which is pretty much the same nowadays. But
Yeah.
we've been connected for a year now.
I know.
So
It's been great. More to come
so
too.
totally. So it back to really quick is the ending of it was the emotional connection moment because remember that's
Yeah.
like the bottom of the organ layer. That's like the, where you really hit. And I think that, a lot of times, I don't know what you say in practice because you do refer to inner healing to help them on that. I refer to specialists that specialize in cranial sacral therapy because that's a form to release that
Yeah.
emotional
I've
backup.
had like that's amazing work. When we lived in Marin,
Yeah.
we saw an
Yes.
osteopathic minute OMM, osteopathic
Yes.
medicine. It's a mouthful.
Yes.
We
Yeah, I
saw
know,
a
right?
lady who did that work. It's pretty cool.
It is. It's really, I mean, it's at first you're like, what? I mean, my mom does it. She specializes in it and she has like so many years of knowledge and like so many certificates with it that when I was working in practice with her, when I first started in all of this, I saw some crazy things and I was like, whoa, but it's intense and it's a lot. And so a lot of times I do refer my clients to get, cranial sacral therapy and it works. It helps. And
Yeah.
so that's like that emotional layer. Cause really, I mean, the only part that I'm able to help with on the emotional layer is prayer. I pray for each and every one of my clients at home when I'm at the office. Like I internally just pray for them and
Yeah.
I ask God to help them heal because at the end of the day, God is our healer. So, and when it comes to that emotional part, you refer to inner healing, I refer to cranial sacral therapy, which are great things. And those people are really strong, and you got to be really rooted and grounded in your faith because you take on so much. And it's
Yeah.
not that we're not rooted or grounded in our faith. We just have a passion and specialize in
Yeah.
getting them to that point.
Yeah.
So, you know, because
I think
a
a
lot,
big yeah, I think a big piece of it too is like the forgiveness piece, right?
yes,
Like
like forgiving
hang
themselves.
on,
Oh,
like the
yeah.
anger and the bitterness and like forgiving
Yes.
yourself for your mistakes and your choices. And
Yep.
then, I have like a little forgiveness handout that I send them that some my girl that like, okay, write a list of like all the people that trigger you and go
Yes.
by one and be like,
Mhm.
I forgive you and I bless you. And like, God,
Yes.
forgive me for hanging on to this burden because I was never meant to carry this. Like, this is the world's. Because God wants you to live free. He wants you to
100%.
surrender. And it's interesting because people will put it off, and then when they do it, they'll message me and be like, "That was like I wasn't expecting to cry," and like all this.
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, like this is healing. This
Yeah.
is
Oh,
healing."
yeah. When I get to, like, that last part where, like, I sometimes there's, like, a struggle, I go, "You need to start journaling. You need to start
Yeah,
journaling your feelings. You need to start whether you're a believer or you're not, start journaling how you
yeah,
feel. You need to really connect with yourself on those emotions and feelings." Because a lot of times they'll say, "Well, I've tried everything and I still feel stuck." And it's
yeah,
like, "No, it's not because," and they'll be like, "It's because 'cause I'm broken." And it's like, "No, it's not because you're broken. You need to turn those words around, and you need to allow
yeah,
yourself to be unstuck and forgive yourself for allowing yourself to become broken."
yeah,
Whatever those things were, just allow yourself to forgive your own self
yeah,
for those things.
yeah,
And it's like they also will be like, "Well, it's because no one has looked at your body, like, or, through a survival or a lens yet." Like, cause they always come in and they're like, "Well, I've seen this practitioner, I've done this, this, and this, and this, and this." And then it's like, you have to ask these questions when you get to the emotional level of things. Like, my
yeah,
first visit, I asked these things. I'm like, well, I'm like, healing isn't about fighting your body. It's about partnering with it. It's about
yeah.
forgiving it. It's about really understanding it and committing to it and connecting with it.
And that's
And I
hard.
was,
It's hard
yes,
for people, and that's
it's hard for me
yeah.
sometimes,
Of
you
course,
know?
we're human too, and again, like,
Yeah.
everything we're saying that other people struggle with, Kelly and I have struggled with
Oh,
ourselves
yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah. Like, it took me a long time to, like, commit to
Yeah,
myself. Took me a long time to, like, believe in myself. It
yeah.
took me a long time to get
But
my
I think
health right.
that was our process. That was the
Yeah.
journey that God nothing is wasted with
Oh,
God.
yeah.
And
Yep.
all these things that we went through slash are still going through are going to benefit someone else down the road. Like it's
Yep. Yep.
just the way it is. It just keeps happening over and over
Yeah.
again. So
Yep. And I think, like, in closing, for Michaela and I, we created Unfiltered Wellness Podcast because it's kind of something where we're wanting to go in and we want to go peel the layers together. We want to peel them back, and not just in what we do in our practice. We are going to talk about, both her and I are with firemen, and that's a whole other dynamic of things.
little micro community.
She's she's a mom of 3 kids. I'm a mom of a cute little Frenchie that is my child,
It's
full-time
your child.
job.
It's a
But it's
human
like,
dog.
yeah, we wanna unpeel the layers of health, life, what's out in the real world, just everything, just an everyday thing where people can connect with us no matter whether it's about your health or whether you're struggling or whether you're having, a bad day, or you also are married to a fireman or you're dating a fireman, you're with a fireman, and it's hard to grasp to that reality of, that schedule and those, unknown moments and things like
Yeah.
that. So we just want this to be like a place of education, a place of, like, feeling safe, and
And hope.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, and hope, and also talking about our faith and just really leaning in on the Lord and hoping to speak to other people out there that have questions or that are confused
Yeah.
or, want more, but they just don't know where
Yeah.
to find more.
Yeah.
So
And then
that's kind of
we
what,
have our website where, yes, we both see clients individually in our, different parts of California, but
yep,
we also and we also are very well aware that coming to see either one of us is an investment, and not
Yes.
everyone can take that investment on depending on what season of their life there is. And so we both have this big heart for healing people and kind of meeting them where they're at. So what we did together was using the whole food supplementation that we were talking about is we are having some kind of DIY protocols that we use
Yeah.
in our practice. And it comes with like food and nutrition and, some other things at an extremely reasonable price. Obviously, it's just DIY, so you're not getting like, the one-on-one
Yeah.
care, but it's
Yep.
something. It's a step in
Yeah.
the right direction.
Yes.
So look at that. And then we have some links to some of our favorite products and,
Yep.
all these different things where you
That we'll
can
be talk
go
yeah,
off
that
of
we'll
our
be talking about.
recommendation. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about those in each of our podcasts just because we have so much to talk about. So each podcast is going to be, again, we just want to unpeel layers. And
Yes.
we want people to understand what your body has been trying to tell you all along, physically,
Yes.
mentally, and emotionally. And we also are going to have a chat button on the website to where, we always want to end with if there's anything that you need prayer for, or how can we pray for you? That is something that we definitely would love to do.
Yeah.
So we will have a chat button there. And also, if you have questions about anything, whether it's, questions about the protocols or questions about setting up an appointment with either myself or Michaela,
We
we
both see
definitely will
people
have that there.
virtually. Yeah.
Yeah. We see people virtually. I see people in office. Michaela sees people in office. So anything that you guys have questions about, we will have a chat button on there. So, but that's it for today. And we
That was so
appreciate you
fun.
listening.
I love
Yeah.
it. Looking
So we
forward to
appreciate.
next time.
I know. Same here. Look forward to next time, and I hope everybody has a great